Hello, welcome to ONES tutorial. In today's video, we will cover what is waterfall model and work breakdown structure and how to use ONES to manage waterfall projects. First, let's take a look at the definitions of the waterfall model. The waterfall model is a linear, sequential approach to project management. The method consists of 7 phases, each of which must wait for the previous one to finish before starting, just like a waterfall. At each stage of the waterfall project, documentation should be included. The waterfall model is about the completeness of getting it right the first time. Therefore, the waterfall model is the preferred choice in situations where, number 1, project or product targets remain firm. Number 2, requirements are clear, because in a waterfall model, the project must return to stage 1 with revision. The need for change means product requirements were unclear. And number 3, it's good to use this model if the team understands the technology well. The waterfall model has its pros and cons. The advantages of the waterfall model are, number 1, costs can be estimated with fairly high accuracy once requirements are defined. Number 2, the end goal can be set early. Before software development begins, the end goals are set and the project is detailed, making the needs and outcome clear to everyone. Number 3, phased development cycle enforces discipline. Each step has a clear start and finish, making progress easy to monitor. This helps to reduce any project slippage from the agreed timescales. And number 4, good information transfer. Documentation occurs at every waterfall stage. Waterfall prioritizes accessible information. This allows new team members to get up to speed quickly when needed. The disadvantages are, number 1, difficult to change. Waterfall does not allow the user's requirements to be changed. The project starts again from the first phase if the customer changes the requirements. This model lacks flexibility and increases the risk of developing. Number 2, delays in testing. Early bugs may be discovered later in the development process during testing, which can have serious consequences. Number 3, too much documentation. Too much documentation required between phases significantly increases the workload and cost of communicating across departments. Number 4, exclusion of end users and customers. Waterfall has very little focus on the end user or customer involved in a project. Now, let's see what is WBS. WBS refers to the work breakdown structure. A work breakdown structure is a hierarchical breakdown of all the work products that must be carried out by team members for a project to achieve its various deliverables, and ultimately to accomplish its objectives. There are 5 best practices of WBS. Firstly, follow the 100% rule. This means the WBS should contain 100% of the work defined by the project scope. Otherwise, deliverables will be neglected, or they will be mistakenly assumed to be completed. Number 2, use nouns instead of verbs. When developing a WBS, it is better to use nouns instead of verbs. This is a reminder to everyone that a project schedule is not a timetable or a to-do list. Rather, it is a framework for a project. Third, keep all elements mutually exclusive. Make sure tasks are exclusive, do not overlap. Try not to exceed 10 levels. Some experts say 5. Number 4, adequate level of detail. Don't get too granular. Enough detail is needed to plan, manage, and control the project. You may have reached the effective limit of WBS granularity if you cannot specify deliverables and the only details left are actions. In the WBS, work packages are the lowest level. Number 5, deliverables, not actions. Instead of actions, we should focus on deliverables. A deliverable is a predictable result, product, or service. Actions, on the other hand, are more difficult to predict. There are 2 main types of WBS, deliverable-based and process-based. They depend on whether you want to divide up your project in terms of time or scope. A deliverable-based WBS breaks down the project scope into smaller and more manageable deliverables. The upper level of this method is generally oriented towards the deliverables, and the lower level is generally oriented towards the work packages of the deliverables. Let us take the example of a shopping software development project. To break down the work, the deliverable-based method is used. The breakdown process is as follows. The first layer breaks down the software into different functional modules such as login, product search, shopping cart, and payment. The second layer takes payment as an example and breaks down payment into PayPal, Apple Pay, credit card payment, etc. The third layer further breaks down credit card payments, such as Bank A, Bank B, etc. A process-based WBS, on the other hand, defines the project scope of work in terms of process steps, for example, work phrases or functions. This method typically divides the upper level into project phases and the lower level into process work packages. For example, in the case of software projects, the first layer of the project is based on work phases. It has been broken down into project planning, requirements analysis, high-level design, low-level design, development, testing, and delivery. The second layer is the tasks involved. For example, requirements analysis into requirements development, management, and testing. Which WBS type suits your project best? You need to know what each has to offer. First, a deliverable-based WBS is particularly useful in helping project managers to understand the overall scope of a project and how the deliverables relate to each other. It facilitates cost and resource estimation as it provides a summary of work. Number 2, a process-based WBS provides a thorough breakdown of work from a functional perspective, creating a more coherent project scope. This structure also ensures a quality work process. It also helps project teams to better identify project activities by developing both deliverability-oriented and process-based WBSs. Finally, I'll show you the 4 core components of ONES for waterfall model projects: project plan, milestones, deliverables, execution. Now, let's look at the settings. I put the 4 components in the sub-navigation of WBS. They will be shown at the second level of the navigation bar. With these 4 components, we can create a WBS structure. The first step is creating a Gantt chart. A Gantt chart contains all the tasks in the project and displays the time necessary for every task. In ONES, the plans refer to the work packages in Gantt, and the issues below refer to the activity. Now we can create plans and break down the plans. In ONES, you can create plans at 2 places, right at the top or down below all plans. After a plan is created, we can break down the plan. We can break it down into plans, milestones, or issues. Then, we'd need to define every issue. For example, the completion standard and quality required. Besides, every task should be appointed to one and only assignee. The second step is creating a milestone. After a milestone is created, we need to set the deliverables. For instance, during the delivery phase, we need a checklist as a deliverable in the format of files. The third step is setting dependencies to form web charts. We can drag the dot of one issue to link to a plan or issue to set up a dependency relationship. Then they will form a web chart. After these 3 steps are completed, we can create a baseline for our project progress. Click the snapshot to capture the current plans and set it as a baseline. Then click the baseline comparison, and the baseline will be shown in gray. With project plans and baselines established, we can track progress and analyze deviation. Deviation can be observed in two ways. Compare current bars with baseline, or by hovering over the bar, see the difference between the baseline and current progress for the duration and finish date. If you click on today, you will see an orange line. If the plan's DDL is before today and not yet complete, we can define it as delayed. It's hard to keep our project plan static. For example, during the process, we may add tasks to projects or delay the plan. After a while, the original baseline is no longer suitable for tracking how things got done. So we can snapshot the modified new plan as the new baseline and select the new one to compare. Historical snapshot comparison allows us to compare multiple snapshots to check content changes in three states: added or advanced, deleted or delayed, and changed. Another thing worth mentioning is the configure link. This feature allows us to link issues from other projects to our current project plan. For example, we are working on a large project and have assigned some of the deliverables we will eventually deliver to other teams. In this case, the other teams work on their projects, performing this work within their projects. We link this work to our plans so we can track these specific plans and issues within our project. Now, let's look at the other components. The milestones created in the project plans are visualized as a timeline under the milestone component for progress tracking. It is also displayed under our project overview. The target deliverables set when creating the milestones are displayed in full under the deliverables component. The corresponding milestones, types, and other information are displayed. The lowest level of the project plans, the work packages, are displayed in the execution component. Once these work packages are complete, it will be the end of our project as a whole. Now, I'll show you how to set permissions for these components. As you can see, there are project plan and breakdown plan permissions and deliverable permissions under the permission setting. The permissions are varied, such as manage project plan, edit project plan, and view project plan. We can give different permissions to different members, and the permissions are managed separately. For example, you can give the project manager permission to edit the plan, while project members can only view the plan. If the project manager changes the issues, adjusting the issue time and progress, the changed information is automatically synchronized with the project plan. Finally, let's have a quick look at the calculation logic. Taking this plan as an example, under this plan group we have three subplans. Under QA environment subplan, we have two specific tasks, with the progress at respectively 20% and 80%, and they lead the QA environment progress to 48%. Then, these three subplans lead the environment setup to 83%. The overall plan progress automatically changes accordingly. This is the end of the video. Subscribe to us for more tutorials coming out.